everybody!
Hello.
So, first surprise, there is no Marco. We locked up Marco in the bathroom and we took the power with a powerful revolution. So
Made
now
a revolution.
the hosts today for the tea time will be Francesco, that is the brand manager for awesome games like Field of Glory 2 and the incoming Distant War 2.
And Paolo Paglianti, our global PR manager.
Yeah, actually, I am the head of PR, but actually I am the only PR. So I am the top and the bottom, but it's so professional to say that I'm the head of PR. Actually, obviously, Marco is on vacation and left us to do this time. But it will not be an ordinary tea time because I prefer the espresso, so it will be coffee time from today. So Marco will be back next week for the next
time for me.
For the next one, and he probably fire us on Monday. So if anyone can help us for our new job, will be very good. Anyway, today we have a lot of surprises for you, and we start speaking with Vic.
Yeah, Vic from VR Design, developer and designer of Shadow Empire and Decisive campaign, the Decisive campaign series. Today we will talk with him about Decisive campaign, Ardennes Offensive, the fourth war game in the Decisive campaign series. So let's connect with
Absolutely.
Vic. Thank you.
Time to call him.
Right. Yeah. Hello, Vic.
Hi, Vic. Did you connect? Are you there?
Seems like we have a little problem.
Hello?
Okay, Vic has arrived. It's all live, people. It's all live. Nothing recorded.
Listen,
But I
guys,
can see you.
to test, like you call me and I press video and then I'll hopefully everything.
Okay. Bruno, we'll call you again. Sorry, guys.
Marco on another holiday. Yeah. Bruno the Mage, Propa Gamer, thank you. So do we have a question? Bruno, can you highlight?
Hello.
Hello.
Vic.
Hello there.
Bruno is a mage, but to connect to Vic on the other side of the board.
Maybe
While we are waiting, tell me when the game will be released.
the game will be released on November 18th, and I just want to remember all of our community that the game will be released on the Matrix Store and on Steam in the following months. So
Okay, so if somebody wants to conquer and defend Ardennes, he needs to use the version on our shop, while after a few months, the date is not yet decided, we will have the game also on Steam as for lots of games from Slitherine.
well, in the meantime, we can talk about Starship Troopers if you want.
Absolutely.
I know that you tried the demo last week.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be the demo day.
You know, when Marco hired me to do the PR, he told me that we were going to have a Starship Trooper games. So we are talking about 4 years and a half ago. And finally, we have the demo that will be released tomorrow. And I tried the demo that has the same mission that I played with Alberto when we did the press day in May, that a lot of our friends saw live as they are watching now on Twitch. And I discovered that well, actually, the mission that is Peace of Mind is basically the same. You have the army, you have to send around the soldiers to conquer back some mines around the map and allow the miners to go and do their job without being slaughtered by the bugs. But I saw a lot of small improvements, little details, things that works better. So I'm really, I can't wait to see what the players and the influencers and the media will say about this game that is probably one of the most interesting from Slitherine, because normally we do turn-based games. This is an RTS with a really interesting IP that is the movie of the 90s. A lot of people asked us why we are releasing the demo now that we don't know exactly when the game will be released.
Yeah, we released this demo with a specific idea to improve and use our time to make the game, to improve the gaming experience. And so download it and let us know your impressions. We want to receive as much feedback as possible from the community to make this game better.
Yeah, the demo will be available tomorrow evening. When the next festival on Steam will be launched, and it will have 3 different missions, and the most interesting, the most important is a Peace of Mind, that is the one with the mind that you have to conquer back from the bugs. We are also going to release a video tomorrow that is basically a tutorial, I mean an explanation on the game mechanics, how the different units works, and so you can watch the video and understand immediately in a few minutes how the RTS work. It's something different from the user RTS. For example, you don't have to buy the units, but you have a cap for each mission. So we will wait to know what you think about this game. Meanwhile, Vic finally managed to be connected, so we will talk about Ardennes. Hi, Vic. Are you there?
Hello there.
Ciao.
Hello.
Finally. Okay.
Sorry. Problems.
So we have a couple of questions regarding some new features in the game. We will talk about Decisive campaign, Ardennes, Essence. The first one is about the line of sight. Ardennes has a lower scale compared to the previous titles, and you have to adapt some of the rules to fit to the new scale. So, for example, you introduced line of sight for the first time. Can you tell us something more about this, about how it works?
Well, sure. Actually, there's a very simple reason for it. You already mentioned the scale was lower. Like in the previous Decisive campaigns games, the scale was at 5, 10, or even more kilometers per hex. In Ardennes Offensive, the scale has gone back to 1 kilometer per hex. So in previous games in the series, like a unit could maybe see at most 1, 2, or 3 hexes around it. And now it could see maybe 10 hexes or more if it's good weather. And there was just no other choice than to implement line of sight mechanisms for me, because if there's, for example, a hill on the map, it must block the visibility, the recon operation of the unit. Or if there's a forest, it's impossible that you can look through a forest. This kind of things didn't matter with the higher scale, but with the lower scale, line of sight is not something that can be skipped over. And another thing I added was height levels. So in previous games with the higher scale, there were, for example, mountain hexes. I've done away with that. And in this game, there's height levels. So every hex has its own height level, and it's quite nifty. You see height lines on the map. There's 3 different slopes possible, from like a normal slope up to a very steep slope up to almost a cliff. And obviously, these height levels, they influence the line of sight. You cannot look through a higher height level. But I think most of our viewers, they know very well how line of sight works, and it suffices to say that Decisive campaigns now has height levels and line of sight.
Yeah, and you also twisted how X ownership works and introduced intercept fire. could you tell something more about how you expect these mechanics to affect the gameplay and the combat feeling?
Right. I'm not sure I twisted it, but I did certainly introduce it. It's completely different from the previous games. There's no sure hex ownership in Decisive Campaigns Ardennes, except for if it concerns a relatively big town or city, or actually one of your units is on the hex. But for all the other hexes, basically you're presented with an estimate, a prognosis of who is owning the hex. You can toggle on a special layer on the map and it will show you the front line. But this front line is the probable front line. The only way to be sure is to actually move units up there and make sure there's not an enemy that's closer than expected. In practice, this means that if you have an area on the map where you have no units, you might think it's yours, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. So this system allows for a lot of sneaky maneuvers and tactical surprises.
And I've seen that the interface is improved in this game. Can you tell how it was improved compared to the previous titles?
I certainly will, but let me just finish the second part of your previous question on intercept fire. That's another, I think, amazing feature that, if I say it myself, that has been added to the engine. Because the skill moves so low, and I wanted to keep the turn times sort of long. Like in the game, every turn is 6 hours. But on this skill, that posed some problems, like how could you move through an enemy line without the enemy reacting? So I was sort of forced to introduce intercept fire, which means that if the units move, the enemy can react. And it works very well. First of all, it makes it possible to keep the turn, the number of turns in the campaign scenario relatively low, and thus the whole Ardennes offensive playable. Be able to finish it in a reasonable amount of time. But it's also quite exciting because every time you move your units, there's always the risk they take intercept fire, and it makes everything risky and a bit adventurous. If you move your units, you never know what's going to happen, especially if your region is suboptimal. Now, as for the question of interface, this game got I redid the interface for a very large part. I think it looks very fresh now. There's a new layout, and there's a lot less clutter, especially in the main screen. It's possible to collapse all the windows. The window that you use the most, the window in the bottom, where you can see the details on your units. I completely did away with all the tiny pieces of information that clutter the screen and put them in little sidebars that you can pop up or down on the right side of the screen. So I think it's much more pleasant to look at the game and to play it. And also I improved the way you move your units and you attack enemy units.
Yeah.
Here I borrowed quite a lot of Empire. So now in Decisive Campaigns, it's a left-right click system. You left-click a unit to select it, and you right-click a hex or a target to move towards it or attack it. And this works really quick and nice compared to the previous Decisive Campaigns games, where you had to go through a whole number of clicks, click a unit, select the move order, select the target, click another unit, select the move order again. It's completely away with this, and it's quite a pleasure to play at the moment.
Yeah, and I got a last question for you. You seem to really enjoy random generated elements, as you demonstrated with Shadow Empire. I know that Ardennes has an option to add uncertainty events, uncertainty rules, sorry. How does it work?
Right. Let me just say that there's quite a big difference between, like, for me at least, between randomness and uncertainty. I would say, like, my previous game, Shadow Empire, is a game that really has a lot of random elements. Like, the map is different every time. The powers of the statistics of the tanks are different every time. That's not the case here, of course. Ardennes is a historical war game. It's very, very much grounded in history and an attempt to simulate what really happened. So hence the use of the word uncertainty. And the thing that it does is there used to be not a lot of random rolls in decisive campaigns. The only rolls that were made on a very low level during combat resolution. And every time there's a combat in decisive campaigns, units are split up in smaller subunits, and there's like maybe thousands of rolls made by every little squad, every tank, etc. The thing, however, is that there are so many rolls being made that they tend to cancel each other out, and actually resulting in not having that much of an uncertainty effect. So if you toggle on this optional uncertainty rules, not only are there dice rolls made on like the subunit level, like a single tank or a squad, but also on the unit level. One roll is made at the start of every game for every unit. Every unit gets one dice that's sort of fixed. It's called a loaded dice. I will leave the details for another time. And the second dice that is rolled, there's 2 dice that are rolled for every combat. The second dice is rolled, well, every time there's a new combat is rolled again. The effect of this is twofold. First, every unit, every time you play, feels slightly stronger or slightly weaker than normal. And every battle might have some more surprising results as well.
Okay, we have a question from the chat. Alto Resin is asking if weather is a thing. Is it random, or we have meteorologists giving us hints? So we will have any kind of idea during the days of the Ardennes offensive, how the weather will be in the next day, so it will be something that we will discover in the morning.
Well, you can discover it 4 times a day, as the turn time is 6 hours. But if you start a scenario, you can choose between either historical weather, which will be exactly the same weather as the Germans and Americans had during the real Ardennes offensive, or random weather, in which case it would go differently. You can also choose bad weather, which means that the Germans are basically having the optimal weather possible, and it stays cloudy and rainy, and the Air Force of the Americans stays grounded. And during, obviously, if you play in historical weather mode, there's not much use to have a weather report. It's already fixed what the weather will be. But if you play with random weather, then there's a weather report, and there you can see the weather maybe 6 to 8 turns in advance, and the further away the date where the weather is being predicted, the more uncertain the prediction is. So you'll be sure of the coming turns, but you will be semi-sure of the next day or the day after.
Another question from our friends. He was asking about the air units. If the maps has the air units, and they will be. It's Beamslam, our friends Beamslam. If there are air units in the game.
If there are units in the game.
Air unit, flying object, bombers.
Air unit. No, I abstracted the air units because most of the air units were actually based off map, because it's a 1 kilometer scale. Even the campaign map is really big, but still a lot of the actual air units were based outside the map. So, and especially the smaller scenarios. I mean, there's no way that the air units are going to fit on the map. So I decided to simulate this by action cards. So each side has action cards, notably the Americans. and every turn they can play a number of air missions.
Okay.
And there's another question about, from Mertek. How much replayability would the player get from a non-random generated game like this?
Well,
it's a difficult one.
That's a good question. I can answer it negatively or positively. I mean, yeah, if you play the same scenario again, everything will start the same way, but you could choose to play it differently, right? You could choose another angle of attack, or the AI could come up with another stratagem. So, yeah, even the same scenario could play different every time. But obviously, it's not going to be completely different because all the starting pieces stay the same. It could develop differently. What I do want to add to this question is that finally, for the first time in the Decisive Campaign series, there's finally an editor included that is actually relatively easy to use. And I expect that a lot of people will be able to wrap their head around it and come up with making the scenarios.
Okay, the final question is from our chat, from the friends from the chat. If there are just Americans against Germans, or there will be even some British units?
There are British units included, of course.
Okay.
I mean, they were fighting there as well.
Yeah, but a lot of movies about the Ardennes and the Battle of the Bulge are on Americans' salient defensive, so probably the question was for that. Thank you very much, Vic. We can't wait to play the full game that will be available on November 18th.
Yeah.
On the Magic Store. So it's only something more than a month away from installing on our PCs. Thank you very much.
Thanks again for joining us. Bye, Vic.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay then, Paolo. So I remove this.
Okay, let's go back to Starship Troopers, something more, I mean, RTS to play. And during while Vic was speaking, one of the chat asked about the units. The game is based on the first movie, so you will see units that come from that setting. In the demo, I can anticipate that there will be the ordinary infantry, another kind of mobile infantry with more machine guns, they will shoot faster, and then you will have also snipers and the people with rocket launchers. So you will have different units to attack and defend for the bugs.
And sorry, I see a question from Mertek again. Yes, there is a stream at 6:30 p.m. today with Richard York, so we will see for the first time Decisive Campaigns, Ardennes Offensive. Sorry for the off-topic.
No, it's important because Richard's a very good guy and especially keen on war games like that one. So basically, we will have the demo tomorrow, and as we were mentioning before, Vic interview for the people that is connected meanwhile, the demo will have 3 missions. There will be 2 introduction missions that will explain you how to play, and you will be able also to see a special video that we are going to upload tomorrow explaining how the games works, the mechanics of the game, the units and how to control them. It's an RTS, but it's different from the usual RTS because, for example, you can't buy the units with money, but you can just create new units up to the cap of every mission. Obviously, the new units will not have the same experience of the one that maybe lost against the bugs, and this could be a problem when you will face the bigger bugs, because in the end you will see something that is really big. The mission that it's more interesting is the tour that is Peace of Mind that is based on the same mission that we showed in May when we did the Slitherine huge presentation, and it has the mobile infantry fighting against a lot of bugs, really a lot of bugs, coming from all the sides of a huge map. And you will need not only to send the units around looking for the nests of the bugs, but also to use the special ability of the mobile infantry to move around the maps thanks to some special shuttle that will take the people and move around where you need the units, because basically you can't leave any corner of the map undefended. You will have a big base in the center of the map that you will need to defend every time, because new units will come essentially from the center of the map, from your base, and you'll have travel around the map looking for the mines that are your primary targets, and searching and looking out for the nests of the bugs, because if you leave the nests opened, you don't close them with grenades and rocket launchers, sooner or later the bugs will prevail, because they have the numbers. They are basically infinite numbers of nasty bugs with too many hands around attacking you from any side. Will you play the demo?
Absolutely.
We will wait tomorrow, because I didn't send you the code, so it's something that I will keep for me. And if you have any question about Starship Troopers, just go ahead. We are here to answer. Another thing that is really important: we are releasing the demo because we want your feedback. We are doing the game. We have been doing the game in the last years, and we feel the game is the right game for Starship Troopers, with that retro style and the look of a really good RTS set in that universe. But we really want to know what you think about it. So please give any feedback that you want through Steam, through the message, through Discord. Every channel will be important for us to understand what do you feel about the demo.
Yeah, right. So last couple of things before closing. So we have a DLC for Order of Battle, Alliance Resurgent, and it will be out, Roberta, in October 7th.
Next week, basically.
Next week, okay.
When Marco will be back and fight us. Is the second DLC for Order of Battle on the Allied perspective. So you will once again took control of the Americans and British troops, and it's interesting to see it and to play it, because it's like the mid levels of the maps of the war until the third installment that will be out in few months, with the final strike towards Berlin and the center of Europe. So that will be interesting, because there is a shift. While in the first DLC you have to be on the defensive and fight back the aggression from the Axis, now it's time to come back and conquer back Europe. And what about Field of Glory 2, because it's your game?
Yeah, it's my game. And yeah, Field of Glory 2, as you know, the World Team Tournament is underway, and the next week we will have the result of the first round. So we will share the results with you. And in the meantime, the new DLC, Swords and Scimitars, was also released 7 days ago. And as usual, we will open to the registration to a new Crusades themed tournament on Monday. So check it out and make sure you participate to this tournament.
And you know what? I'm playing the World Championship in Fog 2, and I managed not to lose the game in the first 7 days. So hopefully. I'm still playing against the Serbian team. So
it will be a tough.
Yes, it's a tough guy. I'm playing. My army is the Spartans with Roman allies. Against it's an Alexander army, so full of pikes that I have to fight off around, and he also has much more cavalry than me, so it will be tough.
Okay, I see Mordante. Hello, Mordante.
Ciao Mordante.
And are there any questions, Bruno, from the chat about Starship Troopers? I see. Okay, can you go back? Okay, so Tony, sorry for the pointing question, but is this game not a bit similar with Battle Sector which addresses Tyranids?
I think it's really different. First of all, because as we already said, it's an RTS, so it's a completely different kind of strategy games. And secondly, in Battle Sector, you have a limited number of units. You start with your army, and you can't normally, except in few scenarios, find new units to fight back the Tyrannid assault. While in an RTS like Starship Troopers, you can create new units up to the cap of the level. You don't have any kind of money or gold that you have to conquer, or reputation as in other games. You can basically create a new unit as soon as they kill you. And this is, I think, a bit in the spirit of the Starship Troopers movie. It was a bit ironic on that, with the people being slaughtered around by the bugs. And so I feel that the developer replicated this spirit in the game, where you can afford to lose the units. The only thing you have to lose is the experience of the units, because even in a scenario that is normally 1 hour long, the units will grow with the experience, and they will fight better, they will shoot better, they will resist better the assaults. And if you lose them, obviously you have to fight back with green units that they don't have the same skills as the others. In the scenario that you will play tomorrow, the third scenario that is a bit more complex than the other two, you will also have to free some special base around the maps. You will find them, or at least you need to look for them. And those bases will allow you to create units like the snipers or the rocket launchers that are essential to finish the mission, because once you begin to conquer mines after mines, the bugs will answer and will come in greater numbers and with bigger, they will call the bigger brothers. So it's better for you to have the rocket launcher, especially because it's essential to fight off the big bugs at the end of the map.
Okay, I didn't see other questions. So I want to remember the next streams of today at 4:30 p.m. we have an epic battle in War in the East 2 between Yog Dog and Hexaboo. At 6:30, as I said, Decisive Campaigns Ardennes Offensive, the preview with Richard York, and at 8 p.m. Battle Sector with Hexaboo again. For the other streams of the week, you can find them at our Twitch channel, so make sure you follow us, and let's see if... do you have other questions? Do you have...
Also, this evening, Angry Joe will have on his Twitch channel the first ever stream about Starship Troopers. So you will see in action the game 1 day before the release of the demo. But in any case, we ask you to download the demo and tell us about it. If you what you liked, what if anything is not of your likes, tell us what do you change, because we really need your feedback, because now we are in time to change something in the game, so we really need your feedback to understand if you're doing the game you all want. Obviously, it's almost impossible to do a game that will satisfy every people in the world, but we'll do our best.
I see a question. Any update to Distant Worlds progress? Hopefully in 2-3 weeks we can give you some more updates. And Bruno says that it's time to close the Disty time. So
coffee time.
It's coffee time
for now.
So before closing, Paolo.
Yes, we would like to say hello to Roberta, because this is her last day in Slitherine office. She is moving to the next step in her career. We know that they are really lucky to have Roberta in their staff. So goodbye, and we will have some dinner soon when you will be settling in the office.
We will miss you so much, Roberta. Thank you.
Okay? Thank you very much, guys. Let's hope that Marco will not fire us. If you don't see us and you will see a new PR and new brand manager, you know why, because we did the revolution, and it's just time to finish shooting.
Bye, everybody.